セガサターンシロ
What's up? Happy Friday, everybody. SaturnDave here, and no TraynoCo because his boss sucks. I guess he's having to have a face-to-face meeting with his boss, and he won't be available until the second half of the hour. So anyway, you got me. And in keeping with this theme of not having much, we don't even have that much to talk about this week because there hasn't really been any news. Unless you guys got news for me that you want to drop on me in the comments of this cast. But, you know, greetings and howdy to everybody that's in the chat. I think we got 15 people watching right now. Do me a favor and share out the stream and get other folks in here, and we can hang out and talk Saturn. And I will turn this into an impromptu question answer session, and you guys can just fire questions at me and we'll chat. Oh, and we're on... we are, holy crap, so my monitor volume is really high on this thing. Please let me know if I turn into a robot, because since last week I went ahead and installed new now I can hear myself in somebody's headphones coming through.
My apologies, I'm just testing your volume.
Oh, okay. So tell me if I might become a robot, because I installed new firmware and I installed new ASIO drivers on my iRig device. So, and I have a new cable as well. So hopefully everything is good for the duration of the show. I'm just going to shout the folks that are in the chat. We've got, of course, Anthony, my sidekick today, Knight of Dragon, 8-Bit S&K Boy, how's it going, man? Datura Twist, Martin Evans, Paul Borte, David Zaney, bunch of folks I recognize, Mike Garcia, Con Lee. I think I've seen you on the last couple shows. So shouts to everybody. Thanks for joining us. Thank you, Martin. I'm glad so far, knock on wood here. So yeah, let's see. Seriously, if I open up the website, you can see we've got, we talked about Uncle from Another World last show, and then Pat has been flooding the feed with basically back issues of SHIRO show. So that's good. I mean, Pat's on it now. But not a whole lot of new stuff to talk about. What's going on with you, Anthony? I'm gonna make you talk.
Go right ahead. Oh, not much is going on. Right now I'm working on trying to figure out these LVI modems for everybody. I literally have the soldering iron in my hand as we speak. So
it's my understanding that you wanted to take the shortcut and forego the what's it called? You wanted to not have to put in the little was it a capacitor?
Test it without the capacitor and the resistor.
Without the capacitor.
But it didn't seem to work, so I ordered the capacitor and resistor, and they came about 30 minutes before the show started.
Okay.
So now I'm playing with that.
Go figure, you'd actually need the capacitor.
Well, I don't know yet. We'll see.
We'll see. So Knight's busy plugging away at those line voltage inducer modem live modems, I guess.
Voice here.
Hey, is that my bro Pat?
Yep. Hey, sorry about that. I had my boss had a meeting with me. Nothing bad. Actually, honestly, it's really good. They gave me a merit increase, so I was very happy about that.
Right. I'm just kidding.
So everything's good in that regard. So I had to
nice.
I just had to get that sorted real quick, but everything's going well. Well,
let's pop you into the stream here.
Hey. What did I miss?
You just missed nothing really. Just a bunch of me tripping over myself verbally in regard to my audio setup hopefully being fixed, and let me just kind of situate Pat here in the stream.
It's a sad situation.
Probably back up a little bit, Pat, I guess. If you can.
Sorry about
there
that.
you go.
My bad.
We're always showing people how the sausage is made.
I don't like talking about sausage on air.
You don't like sausage metaphors. I get it.
I have too many in my life as it is. I don't need multiple.
Well, we got 23 people watching.
Hello, everybody.
As we make our sausage jokes and our Mr. Bones jokes.
Mr. Sausage Bone Man. Bone Man.
We don't have anything on the agenda today. Except I did give you a little bit of a pat on the back for getting caught up on the uploading all of the back issues of SHIRO Show. So good on you.
It's just up to March, but I'm getting back in the groove. It's been a crazy work's been really busy. We're finally in a lull, so stuff isn't as crazy as it was before, so I can actually do some of those things.
I hear you. I mean, honestly, unpredictability is the only thing I can count on lately for me, because during the pandemic, right in the middle of the pandemic, I pretty much had nothing but time on my hands, and now it's like time comes and goes.
Zero time.
Sometimes I'll sit down and I'll be like, wow, I have a ton of time, and I get into the Netlink chat and I'm like, somebody hit me up and let's do some Netlink. And then
hit my butt.
And then I'll be trying to get some work done on Editor's Corner, and I'm just finding that I don't have any time, because then I get swamped, at work or whatever, from one week to the next.
So it's kind of the opposite of too much time on your hands. It's absolutely no time on my hands.
It's just up and down. It's just, I can't get I don't have any kind of consistent schedule right now, that's the hard part. There are some questions. SaturnDave, do you still make custom Saturn inserts? Speaking of that, speaking of time, no, not really, because of that. I don't have time. If I had another one of me, if I had another SaturnDave, then I would just have him do all that stuff. I would just keep him locked in a closet, and he would do custom reproductions, and he would work on the magazine and all that stuff. And then the other guy.
Honestly speaking, if me and Dave were more locally, I actually think we'd be able to schedule more time to do a lot of these things. It's just hard.
That's true.
Dave asked if he needs help with the repros. I'd help him out 1,000,000%. If he's locally, to help him mail them out or get them shipped. But there's only so much we could do apart. And I know it's kind of weird to say. It's why don't you just do it online? But I think with Dave and I, we got so much honestly, we got so much done when we were at PRGE.
But that's
together.
all we were just focused on that. It's we didn't do anything else. We were just go.
Yeah.
Honestly, I have 9 copies of Grandia boxed up, packaged up, ready to ship out, and they've been sitting in my bedroom since before I went to Hawaii. And ever since I got back from Hawaii, I haven't been able to reach out to anybody to move them, because I just don't have time. So I'll get around to it. But we need to talk about Mr. Bones on the show. Apparently, Blue Moon says,
should I do Dolly Hour?
Dolly Hour. Oh yeah, you can show us your updates. You just did a Sakura Wars thing. Show it.
So there's this commander called Farsight. It's a commander of the Tau army, and I just painted him up last night. And I actually not only did paint him, but I did basing on him, so he's right here. If I can get him close to the camera. See, I have him
Oh, that's really cool. That's much more colorful than a lot of the ones that I've seen.
Yeah, I kind of a lot of the Warhammer is all grimdark and really dark colors.
Right, really grungy.
But I really wanted to do this Japanese style, because I saw this model.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, it's really cool. I love the pedal thing. I can make Sakura pedals and have a little bit of grounding on this. So you can see the terrain and stuff on there. I set up.
Oh yeah, I'm getting a Neon Genesis Evangelion vibe, or definitely the Sakura Wars with the cherry blossoms. That's cool. That's a neat take on it. I like that.
Yeah, and then I liked it so much I based all my other models like that. So here's my Storm Surge I showed off on the show the other time. Get him with little cherry blossoms on the ground.
Nice.
The only complaint that I have is I really want a tree model like that, so I can put trees in between. Here's my other commander I made too.
Nice.
But yeah, I picked it up and it was really good. I really enjoyed it. and I got a lot of good feedback. I put it on Reddit. Got a lot of people saying it's fire. So, honestly, it's probably my best work so far.
You considering getting any of those like Kobu, Soccer Wars Kobu models?
Honestly, I really, the only time I have for painting is painting my models for Warhammer.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to focus on painting up my Warhammer models and getting everything painted that I've bought and put together, versus like putting more money into putting more hobby models stuff into different stuff that I'm not going to use.
Yeah.
Not saying that I won't use them, but it's like the models I'm going to be using them in the games. Like I'm using this the Commander Farsight in the games I'm playing against. So it's like I'm going to be using them versus it's going to look nice on my shelf.
Yeah, yeah.
And a lot of it, I guess, is flex. Like, I don't really care if I win or lose. I just kind of... I always get compliments, like, when I play these armies and stuff I paint. So I always, like... I guess what's the word I'm looking for? I'm very egotistical in that way, where I like them commenting on my models saying they're nice. And
cool.
And they like the way they... And I like them. It's a sense of pride to show, I did this. I didn't commission it. I did it all by myself. Nobody else painted it, based it. It was most of my ideas that I have to give credit. There's another guy that I took the idea for that color scheme for, but I used my own ideas and my own little touches on it, like the basing.
Well, that's awesome. You have that nice camera. You should get all those models together and take like a nice photography of your entire set. You know, that would be cool. I'd like to see it.
Yeah, no, I definitely want to get more painted up first, but I think once I get the majority of paint up, I'll do that. I just want to make sure I have nice models, and I really like the way that the basing came out. I was worried that it was going to look like crap, but it turned out really nice. I just really want more rocks and trees.
Shout out to Tom Fun. Welcome to the stream. Says, hey guys, I'm from England. Came across your podcast when you had the Sega guys on. Listened to your episode. Gone back to the very start of your pods, and he's on episode 27 and loving it so far. Wow. That's dedication, going from the start. And let me tell you, I went back to the beginning a little while ago just to kind of listen, and our quality was so terrible back then. So my hat is off to you for going that far back. And yeah, I mean, we appreciate it. We love the Sega guys. James and Dan, they're great guys, and they produce some great content. So, and they love the Saturn. So, you know, it's
yeah, no, they're really cool. If you guys hear dog barking, you know that my roommate is getting the house like prepped for painting.
Oh, okay.
And my dog has massive anxiety where if my roommate's gone, he just flips out, especially if he knows where he can get to him. So yeah, that happens. But yeah,
no worries.
I'm really excited for. I really appreciate Sega guys coming on. We're in talks of doing another podcast soon, so I'm hoping we can get that going.
Yeah.
With having a certain dream.
Yeah, the jazz. The old podcasts were great. Thanks. That's awesome. And so they were really rough. We didn't have good equipment, and I remember, like, I was at the old house, and I think I recorded a few of those in my car at that point because the baby was just born and I couldn't make noise, and we were recording at night. So it was like I had to go out in my car and record the episodes. But yeah, there was some good times.
Funny. You know, we had a lot of good episodes though. Like I really enjoyed the content of the episodes, and we had a few more guests on. We're ramping up for some more ones, so I'm excited to get the podcast rolling again.
Absolutely.
I know we took a little break just so I can. But it's not ending. We just need I think we want to have a good backlog, so that way we don't have to be like, oh, here's a podcast. We're not gonna have another one for another 4 or 5 months.
Yeah.
But I think the SHIRO show is satiating, no pun intended. With like the need for I wouldn't say it's replacing, but it's sort of satiating, like the updates that we do. So it's the podcasts are more evergreen, so we can keep them pretty evergreen.
Sure. You know, some of them I considered going back and redoing, you know, for example, it might be nice to have Pat on, and we'll do another Neo Geo episode. I think that was the number 2 or the second episode we ever did was like Neo Geo games on the Saturn. It would be kind of neat to go back and revisit that since it's been 5 years, you know,
It'd be cool. I would like to do, maybe we could do like some like obscure Neo Geo games, or like
could be,
like,
yeah,
or like maybe like specific genres, like Neo Geo fighting games or Neo Geo this. So specific genre.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or we can do like Neo Geo shooters, like do like Metal Slug, or do Twinkle Star Sprite. I don't know. I always like talking about Twinkle Star Sprite. So
Twinkle Star Sprites is a really awesome game. It's probably one of my favorite Neo Geo games on the Saturn, because it's so unique. It's like a puzzle shooter, you know. And how many puzzle shooters are there out there? Not many, if
not
any.
Not many.
Yeah. It's a
I'm sad
genre of
we
its
weren't able
own.
to get a match in though.
What do you mean? Oh, at PRGE? Yeah, you're
Yeah.
right. Because there was a machine. There actually was a Twinkle Star Sprites station, and we had
bet
the
your ass there was.
we had
I
the
would not- I
Virtua
would have not
Stick
done
Pro.
the con if we didn't get one.
Right, Virtua Stick Pro, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the huge arcade stick. So yeah, I mean, we really didn't get to do much recreational stuff other than doing the SHIRO show.
I
We
did
did
recreational stuff.
Right, but I mean at PRGE, Pat. Yeah, I know all about it.
But yeah, but you know, I think PRGE. Yeah, we sadly didn't. Like I said, I'm excited. I'm gonna talk with Bob. We might check out a convention he's going to.
Is that the Retro Game World or
yeah,
Retro
we
World?
might do that one. I think it'd be cool. I'd like to do a con a year. That'd be kind of fun. Like maybe just have a con where we all go and just hang out. Because I like PRGE, but I think again I'd like to either have somewhere where a guest and we just have a booth and maybe like a game or two, but or like just go like as couple guys just hanging out.
Yeah, that'd be
that's my
fun.
opinion.
I'm down. I'll be ready for it. I just gotta look at getting the plane ticket in advance so I don't pay too much. Because I've discovered you can save a lot by booking it in advance and then not having to worry about it. If it gets down to the last minute, then I start to stress out about it. You know, that's the thing with PRGE is I had my plane ticket booked well in advance, but we didn't have our room booked. So then it's like I was like, well, I'm gonna be in Portland, but I don't know where I'm staying. You know, but we figured it out.
After going to the wrong hotel like 2 or 3 times.
Right.
I thought that was kind of fun. Was it just once or was it twice? I can't remember.
It felt like twice, but no, I think it was that
we were just exhausted.
We booked. Yeah, they had like the same hotel on opposite sides of the river. You know, opposite sides of the bridge.
And it's like the same thing,
right? And you booked, and yeah, we booked the hotel where everybody stays usually for PRGE, and then we ended up at the one on the other side of the bridge. So.
Yeah,
like I say, my takeaway was that I had a good morning walk in Portland, and that was nice. So the weather was good.
Was fun. I wish I could have joined you for that, but again, I just had too much recreation, so it wasn't. It was hard to do the walk.
So do me a favor, all 32 of you that are watching the stream here.
I thought you just tell me, it's like, do me a favor, Pat, shut up.
Do me a favor, Pat, and just shut up. No, for the 32 people that are watching the stream, why don't you give a thumbs up to the stream right now? It's not that hard. And
do
then
2 thumbs up, be like Siskel and Ebert.
That'll help. Believe it or not, that'll help teach YouTube what's good. And then if you want to help share out the stream, that helps as well. And if you guys feel like it, we are on Discord. And we have a live stream room that is open. So if you guys want to come in here and chat with us, you're more than welcome. We don't have any new news to report, so feel free to come into our SHIRO Discord, link in the description of the video. It's a public Saturn community where we do a lot of cool stuff. We talk about Saturn, Dreamcast, 32X, Genesis,
Sega
we have
CD.
Exactly. We have.
We can talk about Nintendo Switch.
We could talk tech support if you have any questions about your Saturn. Hey, there's Chronol. Am I saying that right? Chronola. And we have a tech support channel. So if you have any questions regarding power supply, video, anything like that, come in there and ask your questions, and hopefully somebody in our community be available and can answer your question, or at least point you in the right direction. We also have our general chat where we just kind of shoot the proverbial whatever.
Oops, I should probably do
about just anything and everything. And then, we also have Netlink tournaments. There's a decathlete tournament going on right now. You guys might wonder how you can participate in Netlink tournaments and how you can get your Saturn online. We have a channel for that, just for that, getting your Saturn online in 2023. And what else?
We're like coast to coast now, except with less conspiracy theories. Did you listen to that back in the day, Coast to Coast?
Coast to Coast with, what was it, Art Bell?
Yeah, it was like that conspiracy one.
And it always was like about aliens and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, believe it or not, I used to listen to that every once in a while. Like, around the same time that the X-Files were really popular, Coast to Coast was really popular. Coast to Coast with Art Bell, and you'd have people calling in talking about how they got abducted by aliens or whatever. Space coast to coast. We have a music discussion where we like to, share music suggestions and
new music, old music, bad music, good music.
Seriously though, I highly recommend, like, if you guys are on the fence about it, maybe if you hate Twitter or you hate Facebook and those communities are not for you, consider joining our Discord, because it's a more warm and tight knit community, and we all love Sega Saturn. We all love just chatting and hanging out, and it's
and if you guys in the chat wants to talk about a topic, just like type in the chat. I think it's a good, like, oh yeah, by the way, my birthday is on Sunday. I forgot to mention that.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Your birthday's on Sunday?
9th.
That snuck up on me. Oh my god, that snuck up on me. Happy almost birthday, Pat.
Thank you.
What's the damage?
No, 31.
31? Oh, but that's a great age to be. I would like to be 31 again.
Yeah. No, it's a pretty good age. Somebody asked when you guys gonna get Dragon's Dream online. I'd like to. Like I said, it's a whole process thing. It's kind of more complex than. Yeah. I think we talked about it in the last couple shows.
We did, and we talked about how impossible it would be. No, it's not that it's impossible. It's that it would be a massive undertaking, and you wouldn't be paid for it. So we need to find that special person out there who has nothing but time on their hands to do that. Because
like Sticks, except Sticks. But yeah, anyways, somebody asked Mr. Bones. No. Anyways, the only other push-util Saturn part from Twin Sports I can think of is Sukai slot shooting.
Speaking of Mr. Bones,
I've actually never heard of that.
Speaking of Mr. Bones, Sega Lord X just dropped a video recently reaming that game. So he doesn't like very as much as I do. So you guys are in the same boat. You really dislike that game.
Yeah. Hey, maybe I'm onto something.
You
guys.
could be. It is a frustrating game, and at times it feels kind of pointless, but it's also great. I don't know.
Game.
The truth is that it's possible to like games for, I don't know, ephemeral reasons, or I don't know, je ne sais quoi, things that you can't really put your finger on. I mean, I think with Mr. Bones, it's everything. It's all the sum of its parts, I guess, that you could say. Maybe it's just the fact that Pat hates it so much that makes me like it.
Maybe it's one of those things, like the contrarian thing. It's like, well, I like it. It's like, but it's garbage, but I like it.
I wish Trekkies was here, because I'd like to talk to him about if somebody has like one of those crooks, those little hooks, and you can yank Trekkies and get him in here. I'd love to talk to him about a recent conversation that we had in the Saturn chat about.
Yeah, I saw you guys arguing. All I heard was silverware being thrown across the room.
You know what's really interesting is that somebody needs to edit the Wikipedia page for Saturn, because I'm not even kidding. Like, for the longest time, I have gone under the delusion that. So there's this narrative basically that goes something like 9 months before the Saturn was released, they caught wind of Sony's specs, and they decided to add a video display processor, and it was that video display process. Right, Conley's on it. The talk about VDP1 versus SH2s. So it was that video display processor that supposedly allowed the Saturn to be able to do textured polygons, right? Which would definitely be VDP1. VDP2 is really just responsible for backgrounds, the like mode 7 style stuff.
And I posted up as well on the because somebody tweeted out on Twitter. I retweeted it saying that the Saturn's processors weren't bolted on. 3D wasn't bolted onto it. Right.
That's just a stupid anecdote. But seriously, the Wikipedia article though cites Edge and Next Generation, which were industry trade publications at the time that reported directly on the progress for Saturn, and they stated that, and they even interviewed Sega employees, and they stated that information, that in March of 1993, March of 94, that they added a video display processor, right? And so that's the Wikipedia page is really just citing trade publications of the time. But the fact is, subsequently, Hideki Sato has gone on record just completely clarifying it, saying that no, VDP1 was there very, very early on. Of course, before the Hitachi processors, before the joint venture with Hitachi, they were looking at the NEC V60 or something. They were looking at an NEC processor, but they quickly nixed that idea in early 93 and decided to go with the SH2s. And so it was one SH2 and VDP1 and VDP2, right? And it was actually the SH2, the second SH2 that was added on later. And I stand corrected because the thing is, even interviews directly with Hitachi they all align, all the interviews with Hitachi align with the interviews with Hideki Sato. And, all this time later, I'm kind of switching my opinion and admitting that, hey, if that's the only information that we had to go off of. But now that we've got these subsequent interviews with Sato and Hitachi, and they both confirmed that it was actually the second SH2 that was added. Then I can't argue with that. And honestly, it makes sense too, because they would have added that, and by doing so, it wouldn't have completely ruined the board. It wouldn't have completely, like, what it did is it basically just they ended up putting both CPUs on the same bus, so that caused a problem because you had the
big thanks to Malenko, $3. Big shout out.
No chat. Let's not interrupt. So he told us last week that he likes to just give us random donations to disrupt the flow. We appreciate it. You can disrupt the flow.
I got a check for $100 from YouTube that I put in the account, so shouts out.
And I'm gonna have to agree with Con on the fact that I think that Next Generation and Edge, they shared articles with each other. They were actually really good publications, and they did a lot of due diligence, but I do think it was a matter of things getting lost in translation. I mean, on one hand, VDP1 is a Hitachi chip. So if they said we added a Hitachi chip, they might have thought that they meant they added VDP1. You know what I'm saying? Because VDP1 was also a Hitachi chip.
Yeah.
So there's any number of things could have happened, but I think that it really does come down to,
some loss in translation,
things getting lost in translation and assumptions being made. There is a degree of like assumptions being made. Even I have been, deducing and making assumptions based on the information that was available to me over the years. And yeah, so somebody needs to
make some asses inducing. I gotcha.
Yeah. Fair. Anyway, we've had social media posts about this that have been like, look, here's all the proof you need, right? But there hasn't been a definitive article written or something like that that puts all of these different sources together and shows you like a timeline. I think it needs to be done so that it can be brought to whoever edits the Wikipedia article and be like, hey,
the SHIRO
let's
article
put this to death. Let's put this to bed so that we can stop arguing over, this and that,
I could have sworn, I don't know if that's fixed, but I think we literally quoted something in an article so that way when they write it up on the it was for Shining Force, so that way they could fix that with a reference. I can't remember what article it was that we mentioned that.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Because it was like, we need to put it out that Shining Force. Oh no, it was the article on the release for the release for Wachenroder, because there was the rumor that the Wachenroder used the same engine as Shining Force 3, and then Night's Digging turned out that it was not the case. It was way too different.
Yeah. Right. Somebody was spreading the information that Shining Force ran on that engine. The Wachenroder ran on the Shining Force engine, which was completely erroneous.
It's so lucky, I think.
8-Bit's SNK Boy was saying, you laugh at people who say that the 3D got added late, and it's funny because they're like, the truth is somewhere in the middle. It's not completely untrue. It's not complete. For example, in Sato's interview, he does say he does kind of go on record saying that it wasn't the original vision to create a 3D console. It would have been capable of 3D, no problem. Like, it could do 3D maths and it could produce polygons, but that wasn't the focus. The focus was to create a really strong 2D machine, right?
Yeah.
And it was just earlier on than people realized. It was in early 93 that they realized that they needed to make a 3D capable machine to go toe-to-toe with PlayStation, and that's when they started looking for people from their arcade division to pull over into the console division in order to make that happen, And
because I mean these guys, these are the ones that really revolutionized 3D in the arcades with Virtua Racer, Virtua Fighter, and all these other games. So it's like saying that they had no intention to do 3D was just kind of wrong, just based off of that alone. Right.
Yeah, I think it was a matter of like 3D to the degree that it ended up being, because there was a point at which they developed the 3D sprite engine, and that wasn't at the inception of its development. That was kind of midway. They developed the 3D sprite based engine and then brought over people to create games for it. And the thing is, there's a document I think Knight pointed this out, and there was a really good point was the English documentation for VDP1 starts at like March of 1994, right? Like the first revision and translation of the English documentation for VDP1 is in March of 1994, which means they didn't give US developers information on how to use this chip until March of 1994. And that's
a little bit late.
Well, it's 9 months before the release of the console. And I think that is where Edge probably just saw the date on the document and said, oh, March of 1994 is when this thing became available, and so they incorrectly assumed or deduced that was the beginning of VDP1.
Right.
Sorry?
They deuced all right.
Yeah, I mean, but even that's a crime, giving US developers the documentation that late. But again, they had to translate it, right, in order to make any sense of it. So,
and look how well that translation was to begin with.
Yeah. Yeah, so really it wasn't that VDP1 was added 9 months before the Saturn's launch. It was that US developers or English speakers only got their hands on the documentation 9 months before launch. But Japanese developers had it very, very early on.
Because you guys, if you know how manufacturing works, you know that even now, if it's 9 months on, redesigning the Saturn to support that would be ridiculous, to the point where that would be another 2-year delay.
Right.
To support 3D versus, even now it would probably be that same length, let alone like
Yeah.
like 23 years ago.
I mean, I've talked to my wife about this before, and she ran a pick and place. She's done lots of board fabrication, and even she was just like, man, 9 months seems like a really short amount of time to toss a new, like, vital component, like that's like the centerpiece of how your entire engine works onto the PCB board. And once you put that in, it causes ripples, right? It like changes everything else about the PCB's layout.
Exactly.
She's like, I don't think 9 months would be enough time to turn it around. They always, part of the narrative is that amount of time redesigning the board caused them to lose time writing development tools, development libraries and the graphics library, right? But I think it's still an over exaggeration, because 9 months just wouldn't be enough time. Now, adding a second SH2 mid 93 wouldn't have been as big of a deal, because like I said, not SH3, SH2 in mid 93, the SH2 is designed to like cascade data so you can have them in parallel.
Yeah. As
a master and slave. And really the only problem you'd end up dealing with is them fighting over that same bus. But
pretty much, and I could see that that's more of a useful time frame, because 9 months doing that in 94, that's like literally rush job. That's like you have like that. It would be lucky to even get released, even if everything was pushed to the priority where it's like they're literally, as soon as they get their order, they're pushing boards out for prototyping. That's like
right.
Really has, not to mention like 9 months, like Saturn was released. What year was it? Was it March of 94?
It was November of 94 in Japan.
Yeah.
So if like I say,
7 months then, right?
Well, March to November, that's 3 quarters, so 9 months.
But 8 months.
8 or 9, yeah. But the point is, now that I'm thinking about all of it in retrospect, it makes so much more sense the other way, And again, like the information we have now from Sato and from Hitachi really clears that up. It's just again, like we've been going off of this source, in Edge or Next Generation that never went corrected. It was never corrected. That's the thing. Even back in the day, it wasn't like they reported on it in multiple issues. Okay. It was like, even in their retrospective issues where they went back and talked about the console war between Sega, Sony, and Nintendo, they would do these roundups of like how the thing was developed, and they would repeat the same information and nobody would correct them. Nobody from Sega, at least and maybe it was just that Sega was too busy and they weren't reading those publications, but it's like it never got corrected, so it just didn't go challenged,
And this is why, people, you do not use Wikipedia as a source. Do not, if you're making a video, do not use Wikipedia to get sources, because stuff, at least for the Saturn, is incorrect. And if the Saturn's incorrect, there's probably more that's incorrect on there.
But in all fairness, Wikipedia is using reputable sources, and the only ones that they have. I can't fault whoever was writing the Wikipedia article. I can't really fault them. They were using the most reputable and possibly accurate source available at the time. It's only subsequently that we've gotten these interviews, firsthand from like Hideki Sato and from the folks at Hitachi that have really set the record straight. And now I feel like they have a duty to correct this information, but
exactly, because if they don't, we're gonna have so many YouTubers regurgitating the same information.
Right.
Saturn was posted on.
How many videos? How many videos now need to be completely redacted?
I can tell you one creator that has to redact a video off the top of my head.
Well, to name names, we're talking about GameSack, right?
GameSack. I don't want to call people out. I feel
Sega Saturn SHIRO. No, I don't think we've ever.
SHIRO probably.
We probably need to redact some stuff, but I know that, and I like GameSack. I don't, I think Joe does some good stuff, but I know that there was a response that basically shared the sentiment that maybe they're misremembering. Like maybe Hideki Sato is misremembering, and I would be inclined to believe that too, that a quarter century memory is not that accurate, if it wasn't for the fact that there are like 3 other sources very close to the project that all coincide, and they all agree that it was like, no, it was very much like the second SH2 that was thrown in as like a, here, you can squeeze 1.5 times the power out if you're a really good coder, you know. That's
I guess so, but I mean, as a developer, I can't tell you off the top of my head what the last line of code I wrote does or is doing, but I can tell you generalized things about the apps I've worked on like over 10 years ago, that its functionality.
Sure.
Like,
yeah.
And stuff I've developed in college and stuff, so I can tell you the gist of it.
Mm-hmm.
I can't tell you how it functions base to base, but I can tell you at least 10 years ago. So, I mean, like, people have generalized ideas. I can't see, even after 20 years, you would misremember something like that, where it's like you've developed it, you lived with it. Because once you live with something like that, you don't not remember it, you know?
Yeah.
And like Khan says, that big of a hardware change would be hard to misremember. Like, like something that's like last minute like that, you would not forget. Because you would be like, I don't want to do that ever again. Like, because a dev, that's my mentality. If we had to reduce something like the last second and I lost hours of sleep over it, I ain't forgetting that. But luckily, I've never had to do that. So it's all good.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, you know, that, so it also, you know, Knight also mentioned a point that, you know, what kind of 2D machine, what kind of amazing 2D powerhouse would the Saturn have been? You know, if we want to indulge that line of thinking, that rhetoric that the Saturn was designed to be a 2D powerhouse, quote unquote, what kind of 2D powerhouse would it have been if it wasn't designed around VDP1 from the get-go? You know, because VDP1 is really the chip that kind of drives all of those sprites. You know, yes, it could have done sprites with CPUs. You know, I mean. And again, like VDP2, the Yamaha chip really just is backgrounds and you know, the mode 7 effects. But I mean, I imagine that you could still do sprites without VDP1, but it wouldn't be that 2D powerhouse that they were planning on. So it just makes more sense. And again, you know, like I put way too much stock in those magazines, you know, like Next Generation, you know. Because I know that at the time they had their ear to the ground. They were constantly calling these companies and getting updates because that was their job, to report on the industry side of things, you know, for shareholders, you know, and for trade and for people in the industry. So I just kind of accepted out of hand that it was going to be accurate information, and that's, you know, that's where. Correct. I have egg on my face.
Hey, look at. I mean, it could be worse. You could be trying to watch old X-Play stuff and remember how.
Oh my God!
How not well aged it was.
Oh, like the Tommy. Not Tommy Tellerica. I'm thinking of the Electronic Playground, but or Electric Playground. But yeah, no, even X-Play. Oh my God, some of their old reviews. I was just on eBay the other day. I was looking at some DS games, right? There's this game called Honeycomb Beat on the DS. It's a cheap game. You can get it for like $5. It's a Hudson Soft game. It's called Honeycomb Beat, and it's just this very simple, kind of like Lumines, you know, it kind of has the same vibe as like Lumines. And there's like a honeycomb of different hexagons, and you have to like cancel out these lines of hexagons and stuff like that. And there's like a music soundtrack behind it and stuff. And X-Play, your buddy from X-Play,
Sessler.
Yeah, Sessler gave it a scathing review just because it was a music puzzle game on the DS.
The things
it was one of those lazy reviews where it was like, how many times have we seen a game like this? We're gonna nuke this game just because it's another one of these, you know. I'm not saying honestly, Honeycomb Beat is great. I'm just saying, like, I don't think it deserves the terrible review they gave it. Go ahead, Pat. What?
Yeah, the thing is that the way that game reviewers, I think their mentality was at the time, is that they reviewed it if it's up there AAA levels of good, you know? Because, I mean, there wasn't a lot of the stuff that wasn't AAA really wasn't focused on hardly or got harsh reviews. Or just like, oh, hey, this is weird game, like Cubivore. I don't think it ever really got a serious review. It was mostly, here's this weird game that's from Japan that is like weird, because I remember seeing videos of that and it's like, that looks cute, and I didn't know where it was or where to get it. But yeah, a lot of that stuff for like games that are just like absolute trash. Like, I mean, of course, like big titles, like, I mean, Resident Evil 4, stuff like that. Like the big games, Halo 2, Halo 3, got the giant big reviews and the big numbers. But I think a lot of viewers tend to review it if, in terms of, is it in the running for AAA, which I think nowadays a lot of people have gone around, especially with the influx of indie games, Japanese games overseas, translations. It's a lot more fair. Like, you're seeing more like 8s and 9s on these weird Japanese games versus before, where it probably would get like low view numbers or low. And in retrospect, I mean, these games that Sessler and everyone else gave like 3s or 2s, or like, you know, AAA and like worth hundreds of dollars now. So it's like, even The Room is like it's like almost a $200 game. Room 4, they trash that game.
Yeah, I mean,
complete trash that. It's like a 2 out of 5, I think.
Really? Anything that's like a really slightly
bad.
indie or less than mainstream. I mean, who's to say that they weren't getting paid? I hate to be a conspiracy theorist. You know, I don't want to sound like Art Bell here, but I mean, like, it seems to me like they might have been getting some kind of funding or some kind of like, you know, kickbacks from certain games. I know that kind of stuff was going on because I remember GameSpot had like this huge falling out with the whole Kane and Lynch thing, you know, where it was like, Jeff Gerstmann didn't want to give it a good review because it was like, this game's crap, you know, but they were being paid to review it well, you know. And so yeah, it's like GameSpot fell apart back then when that review hit, because it was one of those things about journalistic integrity, you know. And I don't think XPlay had a whole lot of journalistic integrity, nor did they really care about having journalistic integrity. It just wasn't the whole point of their, you know, their broadcast.
Yeah, and the thing is that, again, they're trying to sell advertisements, and that's why I've like I know a lot of people make fun of Jeff Keighley for like the Dorito Pope and stuff, and having ads for like Mountain Dew, but he made a valid point that like really struck me after I heard it, where I'd stopped mocking him. It's like, if we get these reviewers, that these sponsors that are not game related, it'll remove the idea of like bias reporting. And like, a lot of people still slag on calling the Dorito Pope, and I think with the success of the Game Awards, it sort of went away a little bit more. But he had a really valid point, and I think he really is like one of the rare people that back then that had journalistic integrity. He's like, yeah, it is weird, but I mean, I think for the idea of removing that biasy and that sort of conflict of interest, that it's best that we have reviewers that, you know, are Mountain Dew and are this and that and are like, you know, Coca-Cola, because it's like, if these, like, imagine if it's like, oh, Sony sponsored this, and it's like, oh, it's, and you give a good review, there's always a question, is it really like biased, or is there some biasy where it's like, oh, it's like Mountain Dew or this, okay, it's weird, but, you know, there's not a lot of bias. Yeah, which is a really interesting take to have, and I definitely agreed with him once, and I understood his position on that. So I think nowadays, I think a lot of companies, especially, I think the Game Awards are really good at that, where they're not having a lot of sponsors or needing them really. Yeah. Or like they have external ones, so it's like there's not a lot of bias. And I think nowadays, probably your game reviewing is more journalistically, has a better journalistic integrity than it did like all those years ago, even up to like the 2010s. I think that's a result of social media, honestly, because journalists know now that if they BS a review, people are going to just, you know, cook them for it on social media, you know, like, whereas back then you could get away with, you know, phoning in a review or giving something a poor review, and people, it's like, we didn't have the internet, at least we didn't have social media back then. There wasn't as many people talking, unless you were in like IRC chat or something like that. You know, you were in those old like Usenet groups. Exactly. I mean, yes, there were people that were plugged in, but most people were like me, just a kid growing up, having nothing but the newsstand at my grocery store or something like that. Like magazines, you'd look in a magazine and you try to get an opinion on a game. You couldn't even watch video of it, and if you were lucky enough, you're talking like a postage stamp size video, you know, on a site back in, you know, 97, 98. So you
you really took reviewers' word for things, you know. And if they said, stay away from this game because it's 2D or because it's got too much FMV in it or something like that, you probably you couldn't afford, as a kid who doesn't have a job and has to ask your parents for games for birthdays or Christmas, to waste, you know, $50-$60 on a dud, you know. So
exactly. I was gonna make that same point. Like, even I suffered from that, where I would listen to X Play and I really wouldn't play anything that got like lower than a 3 out of 5.
Yeah,
because it's like I don't have infinite money. Like, you know how many GameCube games I could have, like even Star Fox Adventures I really wish I'd gotten, or Assault, like, because those games actually are fun. Like, believe it or not, they're still pretty fun games, even though they don't have the Star Fox formula. They're still good games. Like I will say that while there's a lot of redundancy and weird stuff in Star Fox Adventures, it still has that like Banjo-Kazooie vibe to it if you like that sort of game.
Mm-hmm. Can you imagine how many great games you might have bought if you didn't listen to reviewers back in the day, you know, and how much more valuable your collection might be if you had gotten the games that they told you to stay away from, you know, because it's like, of course, you know, if you were a Nintendo fan, you were pretty much buying all the Mario games or the Zelda games and stuff. But like on the GameCube, there were so many. Yeah, I'm going to say like undiscovered gems or what. There were so many like obscure and ignored games. What?
There's several that I want to get that got bad reviews. I always want to get all the Resident Evil games on the GameCube. Could never find them at any stores, like Resident Evil 1, you know, the Resident Evil 2, 2 and 3, Code Veronica GameCube ports.
Yeah.
Could never find them. I always wanted to find Cubivore. Could never find that at any store. It's so,
really?
It was so rare. The first time I ever saw it, it had a $150 price tag on it. But I mean,
Cubivore I can believe, but the other ones, it's funny because for a while there, they were just pretty common. I remember at my GameStop that those Resident Evil ports were, those and the Zelda one was pretty common for a while.
I guess just Arizona really was bad for that stuff.
Yeah, maybe. GameCube is great for survival
impossible
horror.
to find.
Yeah.
But at least I'm glad I have them now. Like to big shout out to Peter. With him sending me Code Veronica X, I finally have all the Resident Evils on the GameCube now. So I'm so happy. Nice. That was my one goal. The only thing I don't have is on Dreamcast, but it's like I really need Code. The only Resident Evil I need on that is Resident Evil 2 and 3, but they're so expensive. I don't know if I want to buy them at this point. Actually, how much is it for Resident Evil 2 on Dreamcast?
While you're looking, I'm gonna speak to 8-bit S&K boys saying, you know, I'm old, so I was in my 20s in the 90s. So I had a different experience having grown up in gaming right from the 70s. So yeah, I mean, being a 20-year-old, I imagine you had a job, so you had some disposable income. You might have been importing by then, you know? I often tell folks like, so I was a teenager in high school with the Saturn, and in fact, I started to get a job. I got a job because I needed to be able to buy games, you know, I needed to be able to start to I had the console, which I scraped together money to get. And so I got it used, right? So I got the console and a couple games, and then it was like, well, now what? So I had to go get a job in order to be able to start buying games. And it wasn't really till the Dreamcast that I became financially independent. Secure. And to the point where I started like seeking out ways of importing games and stuff with the Dreamcast. But folks like Mel, my friend Mel, Sega Lord X, he was the generation before me. So yeah, it was like he really started importing at the tail end of the Genesis and then with the Saturn, you know. So yeah, I was just a little too young to be able to be getting a ton of games and importing games and stuff like that. It was like when you're that young, you found ways to play games, whether it was borrowing from your friend, sleepovers, doing like game nights, stealing them.
But it's funny though, because like I actually was lucky to have that opportunity when the 3DS was out, because I had a job back then and I was able to buy stuff, and I have like expensive ass games. Like I have the special edition of Fire Emblem Fates that's like $800 an hour, something crazy. So I'm glad I got that.
You have Fates? Wow. Yeah, no, that is an expensive. Oh, special. Okay, yeah, that's an expensive game.
I literally like had to fight people. Like I had to fight Amazon almost because I almost didn't get it.
Uh-huh.
And it actually gave me like, because I didn't get it, they gave me like two gift cards, and I had like $80.
Right.
And I used it to buy Pokemon Tournament and Star Fox Zero on the Wii U.
Sounded like you said something
they're free,
else.
so I can't complain. I should have spent on something else. You're right, but Pokemon Tournament was actually a lot of fun. I do wish though I did pick up the Shin Megami games on the 3DS. But I did get like the big heavy hitters. Like I got Metal Gear Solid on there, or Metal Gear Solid 3 on there. I got Fire Emblem Fates. I got the Pokemon stuff. So I'm not gonna lament. I do wish I did get like the only game I do want that I could not get is Yokai Watch 3. That's the only one I really want. That's expensive as hell.
Those Yokai Watch games. Let me okay, quick story. Fries, which doesn't exist here at least anymore. I don't know if there's a Fries left. But
There's a Fries Food and Drug here, but it's a different store.
Okay.
The Fries,
okay.
The Fries Electronics is gone.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I what happened there with our chat? It just like went out. I don't know. Anyway,
chat's fine with me.
The chat's fine. Okay. I got a 503 error for a moment there. That's weird. Anyway,
YouTube's dumb.
So I went to Fry's often, and they always had these bargain bins with 3DS games in them. And I had so many opportunities to buy the Yokai Watch games, and I kept buying other stuff, and I kept thinking, oh yeah, well, I'll have other opportunities to buy these. They just keep going down and down, and at one point I think it was just like $5, you know, and I didn't buy them.
I have the original Yokai Watch sealed for $5. I got it 5 and below.
So I ended up getting the original one for 3DS, but that's the only one I got, and the other ones have become really expensive, and yeah. I just wish I would have.
Yeah, I do want to take the L, and I think I'm gonna get them eventually, but right now I'm kind of in the Warhammer vibe. Like I usually get like different hobby vibes, and it's like I'll hop from hobby to hobby if I get bored with it, but I don't play a lot of video. Like literally, I don't even know the last video game I played that was like a single player experience. Like I mean, I was playing stuff like Age of Empires 4 or like, you know, the Saturn stuff. But like I literally can't remember the last 3DS game I played or Switch game. It's been so long. I just don't have the time. I do Shiro, I do work, or I paint my like, you know, my little dollies. So it's like I have so many hobbies right now.
The last 3DS game I played was Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, and only because my son was like interested in Luigi's Mansion 3 on the Switch, which we don't have yet. And I'll probably get it at some point, but I was like, here, you can play this. Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon. So recently booted that up and was playing that a little bit. But Shadow Mask, you mentioned something about listening, and wait, you didn't hear the robot voice. Clarify what you're talking about. Do I sound like a robot now? I don't know.
No, you know I guess because I uploaded, he couldn't hear your robot voice, so I don't know what's up with that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like
I was telling folks when we started the show that I installed new drivers. I updated the firmware, and I installed new ASIO drivers on my iRig. So hopefully it's good now. I'm hoping.
Heard anything so good so far.
So hopefully, yeah. And I'm using a new cable, so knock on wood. But yeah, so
I do want to let people know that, like, and one more note before we move on from the game collecting thing. If you want a game now on Switch, PS4 or Switch, collect it now. Like, don't sleep on it. Don't sleep on it.
I think that's. I would say that with anything, you know, honestly.
Like if you really like a game, like don't be like us. Like honestly, there's some Switch games I haven't bought just because I don't play them. If you really want it, but like really want it, I would suggest you buy it now. Like the weird Japanese ones that are like $1 or something, or $5. Go to GameStop. Go through the PS4 games or the Switch games. See what's weird and obscure that you think is going to be cool, or that you like, or that you know that you want to play, and buy it now. Like I have stuff that I've sealed that I haven't played, but I know I like it, like the Pocky and Rocky remake.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's gonna be worth money, but I like Pocky and Rocky, and I don't want to not be able to play it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
yeah, get stuff like that.
Everything is gonna go up, you know, like once it becomes something that folks are going back to, you know. That's the way it's been with DS, you know, like I mean, so obviously Saturn's expensive, and that's more a matter of it gaining in popularity while at the same time you know, there's just not that many of them, not that many games, so less to go around. But even with the DS, it was a case of it being so popular and so universally loved, you know, among an entire generation of kids. And it's like now they're at that age where they're starting to kind of go back and want to play a lot of those games again. And it's just ridiculous, the prices of some of those DS games.
Yeah, good luck playing the best version of Gold and Silver now. Good luck, kids.
That's another thing entirely too. Like when I'm thinking about DS games, I'm not even thinking about Pokemon games. Like Pokemon games are another thing entirely, and it doesn't matter what system they're on. It's just they're ridiculously expensive, you know.
I think the craziest ones, all the Battle Network games, are literally all over $100.
Oh yeah,
that's
no
just
kidding.
Crazy to me.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, but I mean, luckily they have a collection of them now, so you don't have to worry about it. So hopefully that's satiated. But like, yeah, like before that, like, good luck playing any of the Mega Man 3D, the Mega Man Battle Network games. They were just impossible to play on the DS. They were just all over $100. Luckily the R4 cart's pretty good, so if you want to play them on actual hardware,
sure.
And R4 cart's like a couple bucks on eBay, like,
yeah,
right now if you want to buy it. So don't even.
And I mean, almost I can't think of a machine and games library that are not playable, you know, through means of piracy and you know, a little bit of ingenuity.
3DS games.
Yeah, but again, it's like if it's a game that means something to you that you want to own, and you're not interested in having the entire collection, but you want a nice small collection of games that mean something to you, it's a good practice to just get it while it's cheap. You probably won't regret it. You know, you certainly won't regret it later on when you go to reach for it and you're like, I want to play that game, and it's either been removed from some eShop, you know, so it's unavailable, or, you know, you go on eBay and you find out that it's $200, $300, $400, you know. It's just ridiculous. Exactly. You know, not to mention the fact that some of these games, you know, aren't taken great care of, you know. So you might be on eBay trying to grab a disc-based game and you get it and find out that it only plays halfway through and then you're stuck, you know. So it's, you know,
it's a risk. And the thing is that I think that a good way to look at it is like, buy the games that you know you want to play. Don't buy it just to collect it to hope they're going to be worth money, or just because you want to have a complete collection. I know some people that have complete collections that don't even touch any of the games, but like with me, like I don't even like pick stuff up the shelf. I have like almost full libraries on the GameCube, on the Saturn, on the Dreamcast, on all the Mister stuff, almost all the PlayStation stuff on the Mister, and it's like, I don't really need to. I mean, there's still some games I want to get on there. Like, I think the one game that I really want to get is Tail Concerto. But that game is that one, and then Klonoa.
Yeah.
Holy crap! And of course, the one game that I think as soon as I get, I'll stop game collecting. Snatcher.
Man.
Like, honestly, at this point, it's like I was thinking about trading my Fire Emblem Fates Collector's Edition for Snatcher, or like that plus another thing just to get.
I would do that trade. You also have like a bunch of vinyl. You could just sell some of your vinyl and get Snatcher if you really wanted it, you know? Like, I'm surprised you don't own Snatcher either, because like
it's
you
just
could
opportunity.
easily.
I want to get it in person, and like
I
the people
hear
that do that do it. Like the one time I found it, the guy didn't want trade, and he didn't want to, and he can't use cards, so it's like, well, I guess I can't.
Not to mention, there's a lot of reproductions and Sega CD games. You could just burn a CD, right? Like it'll boot
exactly.
up.
I want to get the real deal, and I want to make sure it's from the right thing. So I'm hoping that, you know, eventually. I mean, I'm getting one of the grails I always wanted, the broadband adapter. Somebody.
Did you pick that up?
Huh?
Nice. You picked that up. funny.
No,
I was thinking about it. I was thinking
yeah, it's in the
about.
chat. Yeah, I was like, you know what? I always wanted. It's always over $150 anyways,
Right.
and it's all boxed up with everything. So I'll just get it. I just wanted
What'd you
just so
get
I
it for?
can. $110. We're still working on a deal. He says he's going to be out of town for a couple days,
Sure.
so I'm not
Yeah.
here back.
No, that's nice. And you could still use it, you know, so that's good too. You could still you could still put it to use.
Yeah, I want to use it. Honestly, Fantasy Star is what I want to use it for.
So good.
Honestly, we should maybe do that. Like maybe do like a game stream where we just play Fantasy Star together and level up on the
That'd be rad.
Dreamcast.
That would be so rad. I mean, there's a game that is like the OG, you know, like chill game. You know, you could just the Forest of Raggle, just going through and leveling up, or just killing monsters and getting loot and doing it all over again. Wash, rinse, and repeat. Kill the dragon.
Exactly.
I could just play that game offline, honestly. But I mean, even with friends, it's even better. But yeah, that's such a great game.
We'll figure something out once I get the broadband adapter, because what I love about my setup right here with the giant brick thing, the giant my giant cool cart, is that I like route so many wires through the side of it. So I literally routed the Ethernet, the net link into there. I routed the all the cables, the wiring, the networking stuff.
Yeah,
it's so cool. I absolutely am. I am in love with like the design of it. It's so cool. I love this cart. Like, I know it's meant for seeing people's anuses, but like, man, this cart. Honestly, this might be my favorite piece of furniture I've ever owned.
Talking about the one you got from the hospital, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
It is so useful. It is crazy how useful this thing is for game stuff.
Yeah, it's like kind of like a rack-mounted system, you know.
Exactly.
I like it.
It looks industrial, but it's just so neat. It's everything I need in it. So good. And the best thing, it has wheels on it, so you can roll it around. And if you want to, like when I'm moving, I could just secure everything down, unplug the wires, and roll it out the front door. Like, it's that simple. Like, if you guys have a like a hospital thing that's getting rid of hospital supplies, and they have a cool cart, get it. Yeah, it's going to require a lot of cleaning. Yeah, it's going to be weird at first, especially if you have like a medical phobia. But it is worth it for how utilitarian it is.
Yeah,
my medical phobia is top. I have so much medical phobia. But yeah, definitely get one of those, because honestly, the best investment I ever made. It pretty much was free. I got like, because I remember I bought like, was it 7 or 8 CRTs for like $1,000? Like, or no, it was 1,500. And after that, like I sold all of them. It was just profit. Those carts were free. Like, it was to the point where I actually had to throw some away because I couldn't, like, there was like 4 or 5 carts I got with it. It was crazy, but I kept 2 of them and I used them for my game consoles and everything. And everything is so cool. It is so neat. Please, people, get one if you can.
When I was in college, I lived in this tiny little apartment, and everything was very cramped, but I had a little cart with a CRT on it, and it just sat at the foot of my bed. So I could literally just lie there and like call in sick to work, just play like Final Fantasy 12 for 8 solid hours. Only getting up every once in a while to make a quesadilla or go to the bathroom, you know. And those are the days without responsibility. But I
know that feel.
I was rocking. It was S Video back then, though. I don't think I had gotten it. Well, it was PlayStation 2, but I hadn't gotten the component and all the better video signals back then. I was just. Still, S Video was a huge jump from composite. So, but yeah, I had a nice little cart, and you could wheel it around, you know. So, but not quite the industrial beasts that you have back there.
Hey, that's still pretty good, honestly. I kind of want to take a staycation one of these days and just get through a bunch of RPGs I have in the backlog.
Just break a leg, right? Break a leg or something else.
Yeah, because like I would love just to hook up, because I have the PS2 in my room connected to the drive. I have like my saves for all the games on the network. I just want to hook up into it and just play some, because I'm trying to get through .hack. That's one, but like I have it hooked up to the Mister on my like 65-inch plasma screen TV with almost all the library of PlayStation 2 games I want to play. It is insane.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love I love like this, and that's another one. PS2. I don't need to collect for because I have pretty much all the games I want to play hooked up. So,
and I mean, like now being a dad, those kind of opportunities are few and far in between, if at all. Which is fine, because like having kids is super rewarding. But I imagine and I hope that the day will come when I'll be able to do that again, where I'll just be able to like, you're like, okay, honey, you go do your gardening thing, and I'm just gonna like, zone out and play video games, because the kids are gone, and I can do that, So
yeah, I think it all comes down also just the like the mentality of things. Like, what would you rather spend your time doing? Like
well, right now, definitely with my kids as much as I can, There are, like it's always more fun when Jesse's willing to game with me, but he's his own person, he's definitely kind of developed his own tastes, which have kind of diverged from me. Like he's just super into anything Pokemon, and I love like the old classic Pokemon games and stuff, even Soul Silver and stuff like that. But I mean, I'm not really that into Arceus or Arceus, however you want to say it.
That's fair.
Like it's cool. I recognize that it's cool and it's open world and it's doing new things and stuff like that. But I don't want to like spend hours of my life in that universe. Like there are so many other things. I waste my time trying to connect the Saturn with other folks.
Hey, I mean, and it's all down to like how we want to spend our time. Like, because I could spend like 8 hours just playing like a dot hack and beating it, or I could spend 8 hours painting this and have something that's like is pushing my artistic skill. Like I'm expressing myself better. I have something I could be like. Everyone asks, "What have you been doing for all these hours?" This is what I've been doing for all these hours. Or like with the SHIRO stuff. For the SHIRO stuff, it's like, "What have you been doing?" Like I'd rather put it into SHIRO. It's like, this is what I've been doing, and with show them the magazine, show them through the subs, show them all the content we work on. So it's that's the thing though, is that it's all like what is the better spent time? Do you want to push yourself or sit into a game that's never gonna like get you like really get you anywhere really? I would say get you anywhere, but it doesn't like you can't really show it off for like.
I'm reading the comments. Nerd. Yeah. Slowcoin, I wish I had that kind of time to sink into that, honestly. I would if if this was like 15 years ago or something like that, I probably would have beat Arceus a couple times, but it's just these days you got to pick and choose what you spend your time on, and yeah, so I will get there again. That time will come again. I'm sure. It's called retirement. It's just like I hope that all of my consoles still work then. Otherwise I'm really going to have to
FPGA.
Exactly. No, I'm hoping to invest in a nice workbench at that point. Like I'll clear Jesse's room out and it'll be like my soldering bench, and I'll be able to like service all my consoles and stuff like that at that point. Yeah. No,
for sure. And I think there's a lot of good opportunities that we have in the future. And like, I'm honestly, I kind of really want to get back to gaming stuff because I really just want to beat some games. And like maybe instead of watching Deep Space Nine at night or watching YouTube videos, I just play dot hack. So I think that's one of the goals I'd like to do is get into that.
Oh, have you finished Uncle from Another World yet? Or did you?
Nope.
Did you start watching it? You gotta watch it. You gotta get caught up on that.
I know
you'll enjoy it
as well.
I know you'll enjoy it. Don't even worry. Don't even bother with Mandalorian. Like this latest episode, it's just so bad.
Oh yeah,
I cannot recommend
it. Really crap. Like
it's bad. It's bad. I don't even know.
Is that the one with the two cameo people?
2 or 3? 3.
Yeah, there's like 3 of them. It's like
it's bad.
Yeah, like the beginning of the season was also trash. It's like, oh yeah, we're gonna explore we're gonna do the Mandalore thing. It's like, I thought, we're not gonna do that off screen. It's like, no, and it's like 3 episodes dedicated to that, and I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah,
I don't care.
The whole thing's pointless. The whole thing is like pointless because they, the culmination of Luke and everything like that, and that whole rescue. You realize that was all for nothing because they're back here to like the beginning. Because they realized that without Baby Yoda. It's like they don't really have anything to go on, so they're like they have to keep somehow keep him back in the mix, you know. Anyway, I don't know how this. Just avoid it. Avoid it. Take my word.
Yeah, don't. What's dyed in the wool nerd 2? What's that mean?
Dyed in the wool just means like ride or die. But what is he talking about? D&D?
She said, "I'm a dyed in the wool nerd 2." I don't know what that means.
Okay, maybe he's just talking about being a nerd in general.
Oh,
we are
okay,
nerds.
that makes sense. Yeah,
We are nerds.
Yeah.
We are geeks. I don't.
Yeah, but yeah, like I just really need to. Yeah, so at least I can skip on Mandalorian, but I need to. But yeah, Disney Star Wars is rubbish. Yeah, it's not good. It's not good. But yeah, like I think you know what? Tonight I'm gonna do it. But after the RPG, I'm just gonna go in my room. I'm gonna reconnect my PlayStation 2 to my network drive and just play some dot hack.
That sounds like
make
fun.
Some progress.
That sounds like fun. But evening well spent. That's I call that self-care. Me time. You know, incidentally, My Life in Gaming recently put out a video that had several shouts in it, and it had an entire Saturn section care of our buddy John Linneman. Yeah. John Linneman did like the excerpt on Saturn, you know, because he's a big fan. And they have about a year of input latency, I jokingly said, because everything they're covering, no offense, is from like over a year ago, right? With like and it's all great stuff, you know, Grandia, Lunar, Grandia and Sakura Wars. Did they talk about Lunar? I'm not sure. Oh, they did. Okay. But yeah, they unfortunately they weren't able to mention like all of the more recent stuff that's been underway. They did mention Bulk Slash. Of course, Stellar Assault is being worked on, which is amazing. And then the winner of the most recent annual contest was Malenko's Tokyo Highway Battle.
Yeah.
Also known as Drift King 97. I highly recommend you guys, if you know how to patch, or if you need to know, you know, we can help you with that. But
I'm so surprised that won. That's crazy.
Well, I'm not so surprised. I mean, it was really the only like it was like completely done within that year, you know? And I mean, it's a great game, you know? So I know that some of those other really high profile games are going to place in next year's competition because they'll be done by then. But yeah, if you guys haven't checked it out, definitely check out Tokyo Highway Battle or Shitoku Battle 97 Drift King. It's the precursor to Tokyo Extreme Racer on the Dreamcast. Okay? And all the DNA is there. I mean, of course, it's it got way better on the Dreamcast in Tokyo Extreme Racer. But what?
I was going to say, Conley asked if they got a hold of the overseas X-Band seller. No, we did order it, though.
Did we win?
Yeah, we won.
Did we win the second one?
Oh, yeah, I forgot to mention that. Yeah, we won the second one.
Yay! Okay, yeah, you did forget to mention that because I didn't even know.
Yeah.
So we won the second batch. Nice. Now we have 20 net links.
Yeah, so it's 20 net links more for people to use. So.
And people keep asking me in side chats and stuff like that, hey, can you add me to the shortlist? And my answer to that is yes, but please consider becoming a patron because it's really patrons that are going to get first dibs, first crack at these Netlink packages, I guess you could say, these bundles that we're going to put together to help folks get online. So if you're interested in Netlink Play, consider becoming a patron so you can help support what we do. We actually used patron funds to bid on those items and win them so that we can pass them on to community members at cost. And instead of folks having to go on eBay and get completely gouged.
Because I think a Netlink modem is pretty expensive, and that's not even with the setup.
Not even with the setup. So yeah, we're going to try to make it as affordable as possible because we actually want, we want members. We want people to join our tournaments. But yes, Tokyo Extreme Racer is awesome, and definitely check out Tokyo Highway Battle. Well, so it was localized. It came out on the PlayStation as Tokyo Highway Battle. The Saturn equivalent, Japanese only, is Drift King 97. but he localized it, and so the title screen now says Tokyo Highway Battle 97. So check that out.
He also got some good references there. I'm not going to spoil it, so.
Yeah. What else? Any other questions before we go? Because I think we need to thank all of our patrons and wrap it up. Yeah, it's pizza night, movie night with the kids, and
I'm sending this to Anthony, right?
You're sending what to Anthony? Oh, the package? Yeah, you're gonna send that to. I believe so, because he's got all the modems there, so he can just kind of pack everything up and send them out to folks. We'll figure that out. So,
yeah.
So SaturnDave.
Yeah, so it should be.
So SaturnDave came up with a Sega Rally because he's listening to Ed's engine. But that Captain Hodden, that doesn't work with the Netlink version. Forget it. All bets are off with the Netlink version because there's the input latency. So I don't do that. I just kind of you shoot from the hip when it comes to the Netlink stuff. The key with the Netlink is just kind of like, I told somebody that Sega Rally over Netlink is more kind of like a grip tape death match. They're the gum tape death match in Initial D, where your hand is like tied to the steering wheel. It's all about like really, really subtle movements, because the oversteer and understeer are so bad because of the input latency that you basically have to just kind of like drift and then counter steer and kind of use the acceleration subtly so that you can kind of get through the course instead of turning really hard one way or the other, because that just ends up putting you into the wall, just because you can't time the counter steer properly. So yeah, I don't know if that's going to get any better as latency, as they're able to get the latency down, but my experience has just been that Sega Rally Netlink is completely different, plays completely differently than the offline experience. And I think that that's it. Yeah, Star Fox Assault is amazing. That's about it. We should definitely, let's see. Let me grab my phone, and that way I can get the list of patron.
I was gonna say I could probably do that real quick. I have it up. You could, right now.
Yeah. Do you have it up? Okay, help me out then.
Yep.
Yeah, go ahead and read them off.
Yes. Before we go, let's give a shout out to two new patrons. You got Steve Unger Jr. and Chad Clark is our two new patrons. So thank you guys for patronizing us.
Yes, thank you very much. And if you haven't already, be sure to join the
patronizing
us. I feel patronized by your patronage.
Thank you for patronizing us.
Be sure to join the Discord and introduce yourself there too, and hang out.
Links in there if you want to talk to us or yell at us or say that the stream is garbage. Up to you. So anyways, got a shout out A Murder of Crows, Blue Moon 95, Emerald Nova, Johannes Fetz, Nate Lawrence, Cerillion, Derek, aka A-Team, Fat Drunk Otaku Friend, Jim Clasher Rank, Justin, Momphis, Normal Guy, New Rageous, Robert Ramsey, Rowan Dished, Seg Steve, Stoneman, Tanuki Trev, Theron Brown, and Young Money So We. If you guys want to get shouted out on the podcast, definitely back us at the $10 and up level. We will shout you on the podcast. Our names are in the credits. If you just give us some money, if you back us on Patreon. But you get also really cool things, like you get early access to ROM hacks that
all of our content, right?
Malenko specifically.
Yeah.
You get,
You'll get early access to all of the content that we produce.
All the content, yeah. All the content we produce. All the content that we do that magazine. Get your name in the magazine, the next one that comes out eventually.
Get access to our private general chat, the inner circle chat, where we talk about everybody behind their backs. Not really.
Yeah, and pretty much full access. So if you have a question, we'll look there. Mostly you want to discuss the show, or
there's definitely discussion going on there that's not, you can't be found in the general.
Yeah, it's and you get like all the people, and it's really good. Like, is that where the discussion happened with the
right. Part of the discussion regarding like the Saturn's architecture and stuff like that. I think, and then part of it was in the general Saturn channel. But either way, it's great. You get You get early access to all of our podcasts, any videos we put out. You get the inner circle. You get your name in the magazine. You get the Panda Pad, yeah.
Wait,
you
get
access.
Get this crap! I probably should do that.
Absolutely, they get early access to Panda vids as well.
Yeah, Panda videos. Get us Panda Pad. I actually don't know if they. I think that's only for the Pandemonium subscribers.
And you get first dibs on the Netlink bundles that we're gonna put out as soon as we do that. So
exactly, yeah. And if you guys want to back that, it's in the description. I think we're gonna this time. I think we're gonna do it for $3 and up for the. I don't know for first dibs or. I'm trying to think. I don't know. We'll discuss that. We'll figure that out. I don't know how we're gonna do that yet, but like I said, if you just join it, you'll have first dibs on it. I think we might just do it since we're gonna have people buy it. We might just do it from the $1 and up as well. So I don't know. I don't know yet. We haven't discussed that.
We'll discuss it
off there, but
yes.
But we'll let you know beforehand. And we'll give you a thing. So if you guys want, we're gonna give you a warning. So if you really want to wait for that to back us, we'll let you know.
In the meantime, if you go to our website, you'll see we have a podcast link that'll take you to our podcast and all of the previous episodes that we've recorded, including the Editor's Corner and the very much up and coming rebooted mainstream podcast, which is that's all I'm going to say for now.
And you get early access to that too.
You'll get early access to that. You also have here a link to our magazine, which you can purchase if you haven't already done so. That would definitely help support us. And also, you'll have a piece of SHIRO memorabilia collectible.
You'll have my face in it. And
you also get a free...
I'm pretty sure you want that.
If you can't afford it, don't worry about it. It's free. You can download it online and read it. You also have information about getting your Saturn online through the Netlink. More information on how all that works and what you need to set it up. And of course, a single one-time donation if you want to do that as well. Okay, down there at the bottom where it says donate, it's just quick donation. And then we've also got links to all of our friends here, which we're always adding new links. And yeah, I think that about covers. That.
Yeah, I think that's about it. Yeah, guys, thank you for watching, and then we will see you later.
We'll see you next time.
You must play Sega Saturn SHIRO.
You must play Sega Saturn. See you later, guys.
Shooting the camera.
SEGA Saturn SHIRO